Wow. Well, guys, this is our coverage of UFC Fight Night 26, which is,
Yeah, it was the debut on...
debut on Fox Sports 1, which actually is Fox Sports 1. They've got a lot of good shit going on, man. They're trying to compete with these other, sports stations, and it looks like they might be able to do it. Now.
Well, I think some of the things they're going for, I'm going to be with, but like Regis, I don't understand. I think they're going to be...
Regis?
Yeah, I saw Regis on one thing. I think they're going to be try to be a little too edgy, a little too wild, a little too crazy. And I'm like, I don't know about that shit.
You do that shit, I'm telling you, man. You're like Christian.
I don't...
You sound just like Christian Slater, man. Motherfuckers were agreeing with me, too. Did you see
I know,
that
I went back and watched it like 3 or 4 times. I'm not up on my Christian Slater stuff.
You gotta get up on it. Anyway, the first fight of the night was Michael Johnson versus Joe Lauzon. And let me tell you something, we had this one way off. Cause we thought, the one thing I will give to Joe Lauzon, he hung in there, but Michael Johnson just straight dominated.
I mean, if you watched all the preview stuff, and if you've ever watched Joe Lauzon before, you expected him to come out fast and furious in that first 5 minutes, and he wasn't. He came out flat-footed, and he just seemed kind of worried. And then Michael Johnson, by the mid of the first round, had all the confidence in the world, because he would close his eyes and throw a punch, and it fell on Lauzon's chin.
He got a unanimous. One judge had him 30-25. That's how fucked up that
shit
was. It was a unanimous decision. Anyway, we did not see that coming.
No, I didn't pick that one.
So we had that shit wrong. Hats off to Michael Johnson. On
to the next fight that I got wrong.
Yeah, George and I were just like, well,
and I'm gonna tell you what, I'm officially
trolls are gonna really come out and start some shit.
I'm off this cat's bandwagon. This man had one impressive knockout on the Ultimate Fighter, and let me tell you, the dude he knocked out on the Ultimate Fighter, I don't think's fought since.
Yeah.
I don't know what's with this cat, but he just.
He doesn't, it's, the problem is, in the fight we're talking about, was the middleweight fight between John Howard and Uriah Hall. The problem with Uriah Hall is he really has to establish a ground game. He is great. His stand-up is great. He's quick and everything, but.
Well, he came out and initiated with a good-looking double. It took him down, but then it's like, okay, I got you down, now what? It's like, okay.
Yeah, and immediately heard the boo birds come out, because they're like, you're not doing anything. You've taken this guy down, you're doing absolutely nothing. And then, John Howard saw that and he took advantage of it.
John Howard is jacked.
Yeah. That guy's my size. Like, he's probably coming down, but he's my stature.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You write it down and come back to it? Or?
You can suck my dick. He is my height and my body. Well, he's actually lighter than me. Comes down to be lighter.
Yeah, his arms are yours when you were 23.
Yeah, my arms was 20. Yeah, no, that nigga's arms are not as big as mine when I was 23. You obviously, maybe I have to put, when I'm editing this shit, maybe I have to put a picture in the background of how big I used to be. You forgot how big I used to be.
No, I remember. I had a little man crush.
Yeah, that guy's nowhere near the size I used to be. Not even close.
Just talking about his arms. I'm not talking about...
Not even his arms, George. Okay. You have really just lost it. I was 250.
I'm just talking about his arms.
George is having short-term memory loss. He's forgetting what
I didn't know him when he was 23. I wasn't even born then.
Yeah, no, none of these guys. These guys are big, but your fighters can't be really big guys. They're gonna be...
I was impressed that this Bama didn't pass out from all that damn muscle he was carrying.
Yeah, he's
swole for...
He is swole for he's just short to be a middleweight.
Yeah, most guys, Smurf.
Yeah, most guys you see that are 5'7" are fighting are going down the welterweight, and a lot of them are going down the lightweight now. But this guy came out and he did what he had to do, and he actually got a split decision.
Yeah.
Which I thought, I would have probably had him win it. Had him at least, I don't know, I had him almost win every round.
But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't see how one ref could have it for Uriah Hall and one ref had it a complete clean sweep for Howard. That is just, you couldn't be on more opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
One guy saw it 30-27 for Howard and the other guy saw it 29-28 for Hall. What did you two go to? What happened?
I just don't know how. Sometimes with this judging, you see such
wild.
It's all over the place.
No, I'm not. I think they called it right. I think Howard won the fight.
Yeah, he definitely won the fight. He definitely won the fight. And he's only had 2 losses.
Let me check. You check that. And while he's checking that, I'm going to go on to the masterful Mike Pyle. He had the hell of a mullet, and he got knocked out about that quick. Because Matt Brown was not fucking around. He's like, I got a party to get to.
Oh, no, this Mark has had 8 losses. My bad.
Oh, 8, 2, whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't look too good for Uriah Hall. But John Howard, hats off to you because you fought a great fight.
Matt Brown fought a great fight too. Pip, game over. 29 seconds.
Matt Brown's on a roll.
Yes.
I mean...
Kaiser, whole wheat. Potato.
Spokesperson for Pepper Farm. He's got all them bad boys in his pantry. Wonder Bread just owns his shit.
He walked right through my pile.
He did, man. He really did. And I thought it'd be, I thought we picked actually Matt Browne to win the fight, but I didn't think it would happen that fast. Matt Browne's won 6 straight. Like, he's really what everybody has thought he could be, you know, early in his career. And now he's like, I don't know, he's got it together. Maybe he's in the right camp, but he's doing all the right things. And I think he's knocked out 5 of those 6.
11 knockouts, 5 submissions, 2 decisions.
What is
of
he
his
in his
18 wins?
Of his last 6 fights, because he's won his last 6 fights.
Yep.
Or how many knockouts? 5?
1, 2, 3. Well, 2 legitimate knockouts, 3 TKOs, 1 decision.
Yeah. So, he's finishing fights, man. So
and I'm going to tell you what, on the run he's at 6-0, I mean, I think it's now time to step up and fight the top 5 guy.
Yeah.
And see where it goes. Fight a guy in the top 5.
Who was his last loss to?
His last loss was to...
Who?
Seth Brakanowski, I don't know. Some Pole.
Yep. Anyway, I love George, everybody.
He did beat John Howard in a decision before that. So.
Now let's move on to this bantamweight fight, which we had Urijah Faber going against Iuri Alcantara.
Look, I agree Urijah Faber won the fight.
Mm-hmm.
The scoring, again, fucked up.
Yeah, like a
10-8 round was given?
Oh, 2 judges had it 30-26.
Which means there was a 10-8.
Yeah, I mean, on 2 judges' scorecards. Because I understand that, but the first round, I mean, it was close. The first round, in my opinion. You know, now, with that being said, Urijah Faber definitely won the fight. But George and I were looking at this first round, we'd be like, oh shit, we see why people are talking about this kid, Uri. He's bad. He's good. He's impressive. Was Urijah Faber ready for him? But then
he adjusted real quick and turned it on and just put it on this kid. When late in the first round, when Urijah Faber finally turned it around and got on top and was landing those elbows, I think the judges gave him way too many points for that. Because to me, Urijah Faber was in way too much trouble he was in too much trouble for too much time in that first round to be given the first round, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did turn it around. I think they got real excited with the big slam and then the elbows he was dropping. But if you only do that for a minute out of 4, I don't understand. If I'm beating you for 4 minutes and you win 1 minute, you don't win the round.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you do. I mean, I don't, maybe they said it was more significant strikes or did more damage, but I don't know if those elbows took everything out of that kid, but those elbows that Faber dropped from the guard in the first round just, to me, churned the whole fight.
I can tell you the one thing that we know that did come out of this fight is Urijah Faber definitely got another sponsor. Now, moving on to the fight, which was a heavyweight fight, okay?
Just give this kid a belt sponsorship and he'll lose. He doesn't win if it's, I mean, just let him fight for the belt and he'll lose.
Yeah, he can't win, but I mean, he can whip everybody else's ass. Now, the next fight, heavyweight fight, was Travis Browne versus Alistair Overeem, and we called this one before a while. We were like, oh, we got this shit really wrong.
Kevin and I both said, let's wait till the weigh-ins. Mm-hmm. So, as a couple of you who've watched us before tweeted right after the weigh-in, said, what do you think? And you know what? After the weigh-ins, I picked Browne. If you don't believe me, go to Twitter.
Yeah.
I picked him. He's just, go look at the physique that Alistair Overeem brought to the ring when he fought Brock Lesnar. Now look at the physique he brought tonight.
Yeah, he was 265 and ripped the fuck up.
Now, tonight he was 255.
255. He's 10 pounds lighter and softer, considerably softer.
And his cardio's still garbage.
Yeah.
But he's still a quality striker, and you can't take him lightly. Because I know a lot of you Overeem fans would think the fight should have been ended. But, I mean, Browne...
He was protecting himself, though. I mean, he was sitting there protecting himself. He still moved. He got up, came back down. He had his arms like this. So he was protecting himself.
Well, I'm just telling you, the Overeem fans are pissed.
They're pissed because their boy got knocked the fuck out.
He got hit with that big toe to the chin.
Yeah, and he was leaving himself open. He kept throwing those front snap kicks, and he's like, Overeem's just sitting there walking right forward. That's the problem with Overeem. That's what happened when he fought Bigfoot.
Lateral movement.
He doesn't move. He gets almost this cockiness to him. Like, I'm just going to keep coming forward, which is fine. That's entertaining, but it's not entertaining when you get knocked the fuck out. At least if you're a fan of Alistair Overeem.
And he plods forward, just like they said. He's heavy-footed. He's not light on his toes. He's not up ready to move left or right, like a striker should be.
So what's next? I mean, I don't know. What's next for Alistair Overeem? I mean, now
you gotta give him a can.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the next step is seriously off a pay-per-view. You put him on one of these fight night cards that's free. Let's put it this way. This card right here could have easily been a pay-per-view and no one would have been upset they paid for it.
No, because it was a good card.
Let's be serious. I mean, it's a good card top to from bottom. Alistair Overeem's next step to stay in the UFC, because in my opinion, Dana White's not real high on this guy anyway. He brought him over because he's a big name.
Right.
No one's going to pay to watch this guy fight now.
Yeah.
He's what, 0-2 in his last 2 fights?
Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it,
they weren't impressive fights. Yeah. He got his ass
He's had how many fights in the UFC? He's had, who has he fought? He's
0-2. He beat Lesnar for the belt, and then lost to Bigfoot, and then lost to Travis Browne.
So really he's 0-3, because he failed the drug test.
Right.
Even though he beat the fuck out of Lesnar. We know he beat the but realistically, he hasn't won a fight in the UFC. You know?
You are correct, sir.
Yep. So, I mean, at that point, you're like, okay, whatever. You know, if I was Alistair Overeem, I go right back to K1, win some shit.
Because I'm going to tell you
people love you in Europe.
When he came over with that Strikeforce contract, if the UFC just picked it up, you know he's getting a nice chunk of change. And we'll find out, because they always release the salaries. But, I mean, I don't know what's next for Overeem because I don't care. But I can tell you right now, Travis Browne cannot fuck with JDS, and he cannot fuck with Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, he just moves too slow. Like, I mean, George, you made a good point. Like, George was like, yeah, he's just moving really slow. And you think about how good JDS and obviously Cain Velasquez.
Their striking is...
I said Daniel Cormier as well. They're just fast. They're fast as shit. They can get in the inside, and if they get in the inside of somebody that tall, they'll throw some nasty uppercuts and they'll work his body.
It'll be interesting to see.
He's tough.
He could take an ass whooping, but it'd be interesting to see, because the first time we saw DC fight in the UFC, he did not show us any of his striking.
Who? No, yeah.
Daniel Cormier. He just came out and just rubbed titties for 15 minutes, which is, I mean, cool, you're capable of doing that, but why not use your hands? I mean,
who
won't.
did he fight? I can't remember now.
I'll look it up. You can parlay us into the next one.
Anyway, this was the main event, obviously, was Chael Sonnen going up against Urijah Shogun Rua.
Easily submission of the night.
You know what, man? I'm going to tell you what. We don't usually give Chael Sonnen a lot of credit unless it's him running off at the mouth, which we'll give him a lot of credit about his post-fight shit, because he did a great job at that shit. But I tell you what, he fought one of the best fights he's fought in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He dominated Shogun Rua. It wasn't even close. No. From the moment that fight started, he dominated with what Chael Sonnen does, takes you to the ground, does his ground and pound. But you know what? At the end of the day, he put Shogun away with something that you would expect Shogun to put him away with.
Yeah, he pulled guard. He pulled guard and sucked him up into a guillotine. And you know what? If you've watched this show more than once or watched one of our MMA videos, not a huge fan of Chael Sonnen. And sadly, Kevin and I have missed one of probably the greatest promos from what I'm reading on Twitter and everywhere else that we've ever, because we wanted to get down here and film, and we forgot, because I'm so used to watching a pay-per-view and everything being, boom, in the ring, there's your interview. And we just got up and walked away, because I didn't think anything of it. Because, I mean, they interviewed 3 fighters? Tonight?
That's it. And, but Chael Sonnen is, I mean, from obviously, if you guys didn't have a chance to see it, he's calling out Wanderlei Silva now.
Yeah, said you're 6 foot tall, 205 pounds. I didn't know didn't know they piled shit that high.
Yeah, he just
a great line.
And I'm gonna tell you what, he redeemed himself, because I think Chael Sonnen, he had taken a couple losses. Now, he did fight some very formidable opponents, but
he fought the creme de la creme.
He really did. And he talks his way into these good fights, and he talked his way into this one as a light heavy, and you know what?
This is why he's getting paid, kids. Because, I mean, if he's not fighting for a belt, it looks like he's winning, and he's finishing fights.
He might be the second coming of Urijah Faber, because when he's fighting for a belt, he doesn't win.
Right. Now,
but he beats everybody else.
One thing I want to, this was the first show on Fox and their new sports station, and they introduced a camera angle that we've never seen before.
Pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty sweet. It's literally, when the guys would go to the mat, it's almost like there's a camera right at the bottom of the cage.
Yeah, it's ground level.
Gives you a nice wide angle. Yeah, it's, I mean, mat level, I would
Mat level, yeah.
It's a great view. I mean, it makes you feel like you're there.
Level.
So, I mean, I guess at this point, what did you think of I mean, this is something we normally don't touch on. What did you think of the production?
I thought it was good.
And they kept it moving.
I thought it moved through smooth. I thought, you know what? And we'll say it, like, Joe Rogan looked good. He looked like not worn out.
Healthy.
He looked clean and healthy. I mean, Joe Rogan's obviously very healthy. I mean, you know, he exercises and takes care of himself, but he just didn't look run down.
No.
And, you know, Brian Stan is a great addition. He's a great commentator. And I just think the whole production, the way they do things, they run it smooth. The event started at 8 o'clock. So for George and I, it's like, okay, I'm glad it started at 8 o'clock, because I don't want to be watching an event in at almost 1 o'clock, 1:30, because George and I obviously filmed the show afterwards. But, I just liked it. It
was cool to see that the main event was at 10:15. It was ready for the last one, and they didn't fuck around.
Yeah, they just started.
They just started it. They're actually backfill it or whatever. And that was awesome to see because you don't have to stand around on a pay-per-view and see them fill dead air. And it was, I mean, it was good to see. The one thing I was kind of, Kenny Florian has managed to eat himself into this desk position. Have you seen his head? Shorty, his head is
cannot, and let me tell you something, man.
I can't. No. Yes,
you cannot get through a whole show without just pulling somebody on full blast.
No.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I love about you. But I was just like, the whole time I'm going,
what are you waiting on?
Yeah, what's he doing?
Did anyone notice him?
Huh?
His head is on swole.
Yeah, it's a good little bit.
And I can talk about heads, because
yeah, headquarters here. Yeah, that shit is just crazy.
Detective.
But
anything.
You know what I'm saying?
Head jokes all day. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
But
the Georgia not.
For you folks who don't watch MMA stuff, get ready because, as you know, the NFL preseason is winding down. College football season starts in 2 weeks.
Yes.
NFL is coming. The Eagles are gonna bust y'all's ass. I'm saying that strictly for the camera.
Yeah.
Because them motherfuckers are just terrible on defense.
They're fucking crazy.
They're horrible.
They're rotten as shit. Anyway, we're out of here. Let us know on the comment board below what you guys thought about the event.
And see, I didn't yawn once because it's not 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, no, it's not. It's only
so y'all can eat ass.
11:08. Deuces.